Why do we wait for a crisis before we finally take our health seriously? My name is Andy, and after 14 years in the military, I spend my time today as a personal trainer and a first aid and CPR instructor. You would assume that with my background, I would have health all figured out. But the truth is, I'm not just another trainer. I'm a guy who had to use my own life-saving protocols to fix a body I was slowly killing. I was great at crisis discipline, but I was failing at the quiet, everyday habits that actually matter for the long haul. That's how I ended up 30 pounds overweight with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. I had to stop listening to the gym bro garbage and start treating my health like the life or death mission it actually is. I'm here because I found a way out, and I want to help you build a life that actually lasts into your 80s and beyond. So if you're done waiting for a wake-up call and you're ready to actually take the lead on your future, let's get into today's topic. I want you to think about the last time you were at a hotel pool or maybe a public gym. We've all seen this specific moment, even if we didn't realize what we were looking at. There's an older woman at the edge of the hot tub, and she's trying to get out. She isn't sick. She isn't in a hospital gown. She's just a person trying to navigate the world. But as she tries to push herself up, you see her arms begin to shake. You see her eyes darting around, looking for a handrail, a ledge, or even a person to grab onto. There's a split second of actual raw panic in her eyes because she realizes that her body, her actual physical frame, is failing to support her weight. It's a terrifying moment of realization where she's no longer in control. She is no longer independent. She didn't consciously choose to be that way. She didn't wake up on her 70th birthday deciding to be frail. What happened was a slow, quiet, invisible theft that took place over 30 or 40 years of her life. While she was busy working a job, raising her kids, and just living, her body was quietly selling off her bones for parts because she stopped giving her body a reason to keep that skeleton strong. Her system made a cold, hard business decision. It decided that keeping those heavy, expensive bones wasn't worth the energy, so it started dissolving them. It left her with a frame that only looks okay on the outside. That woman in the hot tub is the ghost of your future if you don't wake up to the reality of what is happening inside you right now. We see people shrinking as they get older, and we've been conditioned to think it's just a natural part of the aging process. You see your aunt or your grandpa, and they look like they are literally folding in on themselves. They're getting shorter, they're more hunched every year, and we make jokes about it. We say, oh, grandpa's just losing his height. But there's a dangerous lie being told. They aren't just getting old. Their frame is rotting from the inside because it's not being used. When you stop moving, when you stop putting weight on your body, your system shuts down the maintenance crew. It takes the calcium, the minerals out of your bones to use for other things, and it leaves your foundation to crumble. This isn't about fitness or looking good in a mirror. This is about the terrifying reality that one day you might not be able to get up off a toilet or out of your car without somebody having to grab your arm to help you. That is the end of your dignity. That is the end of your freedom. The reason why I'm so fired up about this NASM material isn't just to pass a test. It's because I want to make sure that when you are 80, you are the person that jumps out of the hot tub, not the person that's trapped in it. Your frame is your freedom. And if you let it rot, you will lose everything. The scariest part about this entire process is that it is completely invisible. You can't see your bones getting thinner when you look in a mirror. You don't feel bone pain as your density drops. You only find out your hardware is bankrupt when it is too late. When you trip on a rug or you miss a step and your wrist or your hip snaps like a dry twig. To understand how that lady in the hot tub actually happens, how you go from a 20-year-old athlete to someone who can't stand up, you have to look at the biological construction crew that lives inside your bones. This is where the science from NASM training becomes reality. There are two main players that you need to remember, and they are fighting a war inside you every day. Osteoblasts and osteoclasts. Every day, your bones are being ripped up and rebuilt in a constant cycle that we call remodeling. I want you to think of your skeleton like a house that is constantly being renovated while you're still living in it. The osteoclasts are your demo crew. Their entire job is to find old, cracked, or lazy bone tissue and dissolve it. This part of the process is called resorption. Now, a lot of people think that the demo crew is the bad guy, but they aren't. You need them. If the osteoclasts didn't clear out the old brittle bone, you'd be walking around with a frame that is full of microscopic cracks, just waiting to shatter. They clear the site so that new work can begin. The problem is that osteoblasts, your builders, are the laziest workers you have ever met because they don't work for free. They don't work just because. They only show up to the construction site if there's a direct, urgent reason for them to be there. And in the human body, that reason is what we call stress. When you lift something heavy, when you jump, or when you even just walk at a fast, punchy pace, you are putting a physical load on your bones. That load creates a signal that tells the osteoblasts, hey, get out of the truck. We've got a heavy load here, and we need to lay down some new mineral right now, or this entire skeleton will collapse. This part of the process where they lay down new bone tissue is called formation. Think about the abandoned house in a bad neighborhood. If no one lives there, nobody's walking on the floors, opening the windows, or putting stress on the structure, what happens? The rot moves in. Termites start eating the walls. And since nobody is stressing the house by living in it, no one is there to fix the roof or paint the walls. That is exactly what happens to your skeleton when you live a soft lifestyle. If you spend 8 hours at a desk and then 4 hours on a couch, your osteoblasts have basically been on a 10-year vacation. Meanwhile, the osteoclasts, the demo crew, has been working 24/7, eating away at your hips, your spine, and your knees because they think bone isn't needed anymore. This is the heart of Wolff's Law. It's the use it or lose it law of the universe. Your body will not keep a strong frame if you only have a weak lifestyle. Every time you skip a workout or take the easy way out, you are basically firing a builder and hiring another member of the demo crew. You are telling your body, I'm done with this frame, go ahead and dissolve it. Because we can't feel this internal war happening, we fall into a trap of thinking we have plenty of time to deal with it later. We think bone health is a problem for future me. I want to talk to the younger crowd for a second, the people in their teens, their 20s. You feel like you're made of steel. You can bounce back from anything, and you think osteoporosis is something only your grandmother has to worry about. You are in an incredibly dangerous spot that I call the invisibility trap. Right now, your osteoblasts are in their absolute prime. Your body is a building machine. This is the only window in your entire life, from about age 12 to your late 20s, where you can actually overbuild your bones. It's a biological savings account that has a massive interest rate, but the bank closes the doors at 30. If you go hard right now, if you lift heavy, you play high impact sports, sprinting, you are putting money into a vault that you can live off of for the next 50 years. You are building what we call peak bone mass. That is so high that even when the demo crew starts to win later in life, you still have plenty of hardware left. But if you spend your 20s sitting around, staring at a screen, and taking it easy, you are wasting the greatest biological gift you'll ever get. You are starting your adult life bankrupt. And I'm telling you right now, it is 10 times harder to put that bone mineral back in once you hit 40. You are essentially deciding in your 20s whether or not you are going to be that lady in the hot tub when you are 70. I want you to think about your grandma's shuffling walk. You know, that short, scared step where they look like they're terrified of the floor? They don't walk like that because their legs are tired. They walk like that because their brain is receiving a signal that their hardwire is empty. Their brain knows that if they trip, the game is over. One fall is the end of their independent life. But if you could go back in time and talk to your grandmother when she was 25, she felt exactly like you do right now. She felt fine. She didn't feel her bones dissolving. You only find out they are gone once it is too late. If you're in your 40s, you've entered what we call the danger zone. This is where the osteoclasts start getting a head start. For women, this is where estrogen drops and the demo crew goes into overdrive. For men, testosterone starts to dip and the builders start getting lazy. You've probably seen your friends start to complain about their bad back or their knees just giving out. A lot of that isn't just a muscle issue. It's the fact that their struts, their bones, are losing their structural integrity. If you are in this age group, you cannot afford to be casual about your training anymore. You have to be aggressive. You have to scare the system into staying strong. If you're 70 or 80, I've got the best news that you're going to hear all week. Osteoblasts never actually retire. They don't quit. They just get slower and they need a louder work order to get them on track. You can still pick up a weight, you can still do the resistance work, and you can tell those builders, hey, I'm not done yet, get back to work. I have seen plenty of 80-year-olds, people who were told that they were fragile, completely turn their bone density around. It is possible to re-armor your body at any age, but you have to be willing to put some stress on the system. You have to prove to your body that you are still a hard target. Whether you're 18 or 88, this biological war is the only thing that keeps you from losing your independence. Your body didn't just give you one generic type of bone to handle this war either. It gave you a specialized set of tools for specific jobs. NASM wants us to know the 5 types of bones, and I want you to look at them as your tools for freedom. Every bone in your body was shaped by the specific stress of how humans move. Think about the long bones first. These are the big players. Your femur in your thigh, your humerus in your arm, the tibia and the fibula in your lower legs. These are your levers. We've all seen a guy try to lift a heavy box and his legs start to shake. Those long bones are there so your muscles can pull on them and create massive amounts of force. When those bones stay thick and dense, you can carry your kids, you can move your furniture, you can stay fast. If they get thin, your levers start to break, and suddenly you're grounded. You're no longer the person doing the work, you are the person who needs the work done for them. Then we have what are called short bones in your wrists and your ankles, your carpals, your tarsals. These are your shock absorbers. Think about when you're walking down a trail and you step on a rock you didn't see. Your ankle has to soak that up, the entire hit in a fraction of a second. If those little gravel bones in your ankle aren't healthy or not moving, that shock doesn't just disappear. It shoots straight up into your knee and your hip. We've all seen people who say they have bad knees, but half the time the knee is only hurting because the short bone, the shock absorbers in their feet are rusted shut and they're brittle. They stopped being shock absorbers and they started being bricks. So the knee had to take the hit instead. Then we have what are called flat bones, like your scapula or your shoulder blade, or your sternum, which is your breastbone. These are your armor. Their job isn't to be a lever, it's to be a shield. They are there to protect what we call the engine room, your heart and your lungs. When you see someone with tech neck or bad posture, where their chest is caved in and their shoulders are rolled forward, they are literally crushing their armor into their engine. They are making it harder to breathe and harder for their heart to pump efficiently. Your armor needs to be up and out so that it can protect the internal systems that keep you alive. Then we have what are called irregular bones, the vertebrae in your spine. They are the most complex pieces of the entire skeleton. They have all these weird bumps and processes sticking out of them. This isn't an accident. Every one of those little bumps is a hook where a muscle or a ligament attaches to. Your spine is supposed to be 2 things at once: a rock-solid support beam and a flexible, high-speed whip. But if those irregular bones lose their density, they start to wedge and collapse. That's how you get that hunch that makes people look 20 years older than they actually are. But the coolest thing in the kit is the sesamoid bone, your patella, or what we refer to as the kneecap. It's a tiny bone that lives entirely inside a tendon. Why? To act as a biological pulley. It physically moves the tendon further away from the joint, which gives your quad muscles a massive mechanical advantage. It's a cheat code that makes your legs 10 times stronger than they actually should be, just by existing. It's like having a power steering for your car. But if that bone gets weak or the hinge around it begins to get stiff, you lose that advantage. You lose the ability to climb a flight of stairs or even just get out of a chair without needing help. Every one of these tools is there to make sure that you can win at the game of life. When you understand the toolkit, you realize that taking care of your bones isn't some boring health chore. It's high level maintenance on a high performance machine. We have to wrap this up with a massive reality check because knowing all this NASM science doesn't help you if you still live a life that is designed to make you soft. We live in the most comfortable era in human history. We have elevators, we have cars, we have ergonomically designed couches, we have grocery delivery. Everything in our modern world is shouting at our osteoblasts to go to sleep. I call this digital microgravity. Because we sit so much and move so little, our bodies literally think we are in zero gravity floating in space. And we know what happens to astronauts. Their bones dissolve. We are doing that to ourselves right here on Earth. We are de-evolving our own hardware because we've made life too easy. The result is that we are becoming soft targets. We're becoming the people who break a wrist because they tripped on a garden hose. We're becoming the people who can't get out of the hot tub. I need you, not just want you, I need you to decide today, right now, that you are going to be a hard target. I want you to walk through the world with the mindset that your skeleton is a suit of armor that you are constantly making thicker and stronger. Every time you feel that weight of the world, whether that's carrying a heavy box of books or picking up a bag of salt for the driveway or hitting a heavy set of squats in the gym, I want you to smile because in that moment, you are making a deposit. You are giving yourself a hardware upgrade that no pill, no doctor can give you. You aren't just exercising, you are funding your future freedom. Think back to the lady in the hot tub one last time. That struggle, that panic, that loss of control. This is what happens when you do nothing. That is the default setting for a human being in the 21st century. But if you take this science and you actually live it, you can change your destiny. You can be the 80-year-old who is still dangerous. You can be the person who falls down, laughs about it, gets back up, and keeps moving because your frame was built to handle the hit. Do not let the osteoclasts win today. Go out there and give your osteoblasts a reason to work. Lift something heavy. Jump around. Remind your body that you are still the boss of this house. Fund the bank. Fund your future and keep that frame built for action. But here's the thing. Once you have that strong bone, you need to know how the rest of the machine actually hooks onto it. Next time, we're going to get into the anchors and the central pillar. We're talking about the bumps, the ridges, where your muscles actually grab and hold, and the incredible S-curve that keeps you standing tall. We've got the hardware. Now, let's take a look at the frame. Stay active, stay dense, and keep moving.